Welcome back to our Nioh 2 100% walkthrough. On this episode we'll be doing 3 dojo missions, which are the way of the Warrior Adept, the way of the Ninja Adept, and the way of Nioh Adept. My name is Azzavhar or Azza. Now let's get into the video. So to be able to access these dojo missions, you will need a certain amount of proficiency in the relevant thing. For example, the way of the ninja, required ninjutsu is 30,000, and how you would get proficiency is with the way of the warrior. That's all about weapon proficiency. So for that one, you would basically just use your main weapon to attack and kill enemies, and that will build that up naturally over time. The way of the ninja is all about ninjutsu. So just use any ninjutsu items, for example, shuriken or kunai, and that will build that up. The way of Nioh, all about Nioh magic. So just use any Nioh magic items. For example, you can buff your weapon with a magic talisman, and then you could attack and kill enemies whilst your weapon has that magic buff, and that will build up Nioh magic proficiency. What you can do is, if you don't have access to these dojo missions just yet, you can go and grind missions, repeat some missions, or do sub-missions, and just keep using these skills until you are ready to jump into the mission. Other than that, let's jump into the first one, the way of the Warrior Adept. This one can be a bit spicy. It's all about key recovery, key pulses, and stance changes. So for this one, I tend to use mid stance or high stance, and basically lure this guy around the bridge like this. So mid stance is a bit slower, but it tends to be safer because it keeps him away from you. High stance is high risk, high reward. So it tends to get in more hits, but you have to be quite close for high stance to actually work. So sometimes mid stance is a bit safer. If low stance works for you, then definitely go for low stance. Do whatever works best for you. Try and get your key recovery, your key pulses. The reason this bridge is good is because if you keep luring him around like this, it gives you a little bit of time to use your elixir, gives you a little bit of a break. Just be careful if he is in high stance, because he's like insanely aggressive in high stance. So you want to play a little bit more defensively. If he is in high stance. Ideally, if you can get him out of key, then you can get your critical hit in. That's the play, really. But yeah, just keep luring him around that bridge. You can use the corners of the bridge to give yourself a little bit of a break, and you can pop an elixir here and there. Just try and get your key recoveries in. Try and be aware of what stance he is in, especially if he's in high stance, because he's like hyper aggressive in high stance and he packs a punch. So just keep that in mind as you're working your way around that bridge. Let's move on to the next one, the way of the Ninja Adept. Let's go. I think we fight like 4 or 5 ninja. On this one, just try not to be overwhelmed, because they can try and like surround you, and if they do, it makes it a bit tricky. You can buff your weapon to start off with. Got a few shuriken and stuff you can use on this one. So these are quite squishy because they're ninja. They get wrecked pretty fast. You can use all your stuff. I'm gonna try and apply poison to this one, if possible. Yeah, mid stance will be quite good because it's got more of a range. Like as you're swinging, your Surigami. It's got more of a range as it's kind of like swinging away. You can also use your spikes to give you a little bit of a break, so if you need to heal up or something, you can throw them down and then kind of like hide behind them whilst you pop a cheeky heal. So yeah, just make sure to use your ninjutsu items on that one, so it will help get you through the dojo mission. And then on to the final one, which is the Nioh magic one. This one might be a little bit spicy, or perhaps it's the tier above this one that gets a bit spicy. Let's see what items we have. So we've got a couple of talismans. First of all, I'm going to buff the weapon. Let's jump into it. Make sure to get your key recovery in there. An enemy behind us. I'm going to go for the water shot against this one. Watch out, because I think it might explode. Oh, it hasn't. We'll try and take out the umbrella first of all, if we can do. There we go, we got it eventually. Tried to hit it with a water blast, but it didn't quite get it. So what we'll do for this enemy is make sure to use a water talisman. We'll try and get in with the slow. There we go. That'll make life a lot easier. Then try and put water on him, the water debuff. The water debuff will make him weaker and make us do more damage to him if he's got that water debuff on. So definitely try and get that on. I'm going to back up and use both elixirs at this point. And then just try and get in an attack when it's safe to do so. Like after that slam. Just be aware, because when he does that hammer slam, sometimes he does it like once, sometimes twice, and sometimes 3 times. So just be aware of the hammer slams. And try and get in an attack after he's finished his slams. Other than that, that is those 3 dojo missions done. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, remember to like, comment and subscribe. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.